not to be cliche and quote Hamilton, but I think Lin-Manuel Miranda got it pretty right when he was saying, like it's planting seeds in a garden you don't get to see.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of
2Sides, 2ACoin.
I'm Alicia Couri.
And I'm Cassie, Couri.
And we're here to talk about everything.
And nothing.
That's how it goes. So, do you want to introduce the topic tonight?
We're talking about legacies.
Legacy.
Ooh. What is a legacy?
Well, what's your take on legacy?
I mean, not to be cliche and quote Hamilton, but I think Lin-Manuel Miranda got it pretty right when he was saying, like it's planting seeds in a garden you don't get to see. You're starting a trend or starting an organization, a movement, something that gains traction even after you're gone.
What do you want your legacy?
Oh, I don't know. That's a deep question. What do you want your legacy to be?
So, there are a couple legacy things that I do. And of course, I want to raise children that are meaningful, productive, and socially aware, socially conscious members of society that really feel an obligation to do something, and that will also raise healthy, aware children themselves. So in raising my children, I really want them to be grounded and to see the world not from just their own perspective, but what they can do to make the world a better place. So that's one. Mm-hmm. The next legacy that I hope to create is that I have always hated having my picture taken. You know that, right?
Yes.
I always hated having my picture taken. And because I had all these about not being pretty enough,
You didn't like your hair.
I didn't like my hair. I didn't, there was a whole story behind that. We won't get into that right now because then I'll monopolize the whole session. So my thing was about 10 years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, I went to a funeral of someone from our church. She was a young woman. She had teenage children. So I say young, I don't mean like you young, I mean like me young. She was in her 40s, I believe. And she passed away. And her, I have so many things going in my head. So the thing about it was that she didn't have a lot of pictures of herself because she was always behind the camera taking the pictures of the family. Mm-hmm. She probably had some of the same hang-ups as I did, and she didn't like how she looked in pictures, and that's something that a lot of women struggle with. They don't like how they look in pictures. They don't like themselves.
Right, especially
so
as
they
age.
Yeah, so they hide behind the camera. They are the ones taking the pictures of the family. So I noticed during the funeral, there weren't a lot of pictures of her. There were like 5 pictures cycling. And then there was another funeral, and it's the same thing. I went to 3 funerals where they didn't have many pictures of them at all. Yeah. Or the pictures were blurred or something.
They were not flattering.
They were blurred pictures or something like, So it clicked and it dawned on me that what was I leaving behind for my children to remember me by? Because at the time, you guys were a lot younger,
right?
12,
7
and 2. And I thought, what am I leaving behind for them to remember me if I left this earth?
I remember that conversation too.
Yeah, there was nothing much that I hated taking pictures. And that's when I kind of made the decision that the pictures that are taken of me are not for me. It doesn't matter what I look like in it. In my opinion, means nothing. I mean, it means something, but in the grand scheme, we're talking legacy. In the legacy scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything. What it does mean is that my children get to see me holding them. My children have pictures of me playing with them. My children have pictures of me taking selfies. My children have pictures of, they say, this is my mom. They have pictures.
No, I really do, though. I have pictures of you taking selfies.
They have pictures of me, though. in different stages of now, as they grew up, they can remember me in these stages of their life. So legacy in that sense is, what memories are you creating for them to look back on and see and remember you by?
Especially in this digital age
In this
now,
digital
too.
age,
It makes it so much easier.
Before, when we had film camera and you had to go get it developed, and that was
in a photo album to keep it.
yeah, that was difficult. But now everything is downloadable and uploadable in the cloud, so you don't even have to worry about, you know, grabbing the photo albums if there's a fire.
Filters. We have
so
photo correction. Like,
when you're looking at legacy in the big scheme of things, like what are you leaving behind? Great. But how would you have liked to have pictures, you know, there's ancestry.com, of your great, 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 great grandparents, and be able to see those photos and see them as young people and see them as they aged. You know, it's important to leave behind something for the next generations to see you and see how you were and what you did. I love seeing pictures of my friends' parents when they were younger. You know, I'm like, oh wow, your mom was really cute. You know, she was so, and you know, it makes you feel, at least I don't know how you feel about seeing pictures of me, but because I know you guys are tired of it.
I'm not tired of it.
I think I roll, yeah. So, but you know, when I see pictures of me as a child, as a baby and stuff, it's like a memory that I don't really still have clarity on, but I know that it happened.
Right.
And so little legacies like that is something just to think about. You know, if you don't like taking pictures the way I didn't, think about it from the standpoint of what are you leaving behind for people to remember you by and what you've done. And that's why I like doing videos now too. I remember watching Oprah. This was the other thing that was in my mind about pictures. And a mom who had cancer, and she knew she was dying and she wouldn't get to see her little girl that was, I think, 2 years old grow up. She started recording videos. She was doing chemo for every year of her life, to say, you know, now you're 10, now you're 12. This is puberty time. You know, you're 16. Maybe you have a crush on a boy. So she started like giving her advice for the next few years, because she knew she wasn't going to be around for that. And that also started me thinking about legacy. It's like, what can you do for your children to remember things about you by? And that's why I started doing video too, because even though you guys don't watch my videos
right now,
I mean, you're in one now, so you get to experience. But even though you don't watch some of the shows that I do and the videos that I do, they're here on YouTube forever, as long as YouTube is still around. But you know, it's here, and you can look back and say, oh, this is what my mother thought about that. Oh, this is why she's so big on confidence. Oh, I didn't know that about her. I didn't hear that. I've never heard that story before. You know, because I can't tell you all my stories, because you won't sit around to listen to all my stories. So it's a way for me to get the stories out there.
That's the reason.
But then let's talk financial legacy. We got a couple more minutes. Financial legacy.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about generational wealth in different families, like you hear families like the Trump family,
the
where
Rockefeller family.
Yeah, you know, like he had a small loan of $1 million that he got from his parents to start his huge empire and everything. Right, his self-made empire. And you know, those of us like middle, lower class, even some high class people kind of look at that like, well, what is that like? How does that even happen? You know, like you're built off of old money. So of course you're successful, or of course you can live this way. And I feel like that mentality traps a lot of people because they don't think about building that for their own family. You know, that wealth had to have started somewhere, and it's never too late to start that ball rolling. Like even if you won't get to reap the immediate benefits of that, thinking ahead, you know, for your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, you know, you want to leave something, you want to set the ball rolling and be able to create
and then teach them how to continue to build.
Right.
which is something that I really, really always, before I had you guys, had in my mind. Like, create something. That's why I am passionate about business ownership, about entrepreneurship, because you can build something, you can create something, and then teach your children how to build and create, so that they never have to think about how can I make a living if they're being paid by someone else and they're dependent on that other person deciding what your worth is and what your value is, and if you're still valuable to this company. That you can learn to create something for yourself where you can be independent of that. And you know, the greatest feeling in the world is creating something from nothing. I know how God feels, right? Creating something from nothing and then getting someone to pay for it. I mean, it came out of your head, like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you get somebody else to pay for it. I mean, that is like the greatest gift that I feel I can give my children, is that ability to create something from nothing and then teach them the skills to have somebody else pay for it.
Right. But yeah, I mean, even just general wealth knowledge being passed on to your children, because I mean, like, you and Dad made sure that Brooke and I and Elijah, now coming up, we're knowledgeable on, you know, like how credit cards work and how to build credit and how to save money and set aside money and how to tithe and different things like that. And I feel like that has helped set us up, like, especially now that I'm in school and I'm accumulating
for your own.
Well, not just that, but I'm
things.
accumulating loan debt because my tuition is very expensive. And so I'm learning through your help and Dad's help how to manage that debt in the future once it becomes consolidated and I have to start paying it before
Which I really
accruing interest
didn't
and
want
everything.
you to have
debt,
but
that's
you know,
another
that's
story.
a whole other story.
But
We'll get to in another
the point
time.
is, I feel like even though I am starting out with this debt, the knowledge that I'm gaining in managing it is a lot more valuable than if I were to breeze through school without having to pay anything. And then, you know, I want to get an apartment, or I want to apply for a mortgage, or I want to lease a car, and I have no idea how credit works or how interest works or anything like that.
And then again, back to the skill of learning how to make money on your own as a writer, you can definitely start. We've already started some of that process where, you know, you can start making money even before you work for someone else. You can learn how to do both. So anyway, that is our kind of take on legacy here on
2Sides to a
2ACoin. And so get some coin for yourself and build that legacy
coin for your children
and for your children, and build a legacy of your own. And we'd love to hear about your thoughts on legacy. What are you doing to build a legacy in your family?
You plan on leaving a lasting impact? Who do you want to know your legacy? Do you want it to be within your family? Do you want your community? Do you want the world to know your name and what you did?
World domination.
And what do you plan on doing about that?
Yeah, we're still working on world domination.
So it's in the works. It's in the works.
If it's not me, it's gonna be one of them or them.
Legacy.
Legacy. That's right. All right. So we'll see you next time on 2Sides to a Coin. This is Alicia saying.
And Cassie.
Oh, by the way, if you want to follow us on IG, on Instagram,
if you don't already.
If you're not already, I don't know why.
At Cassie Couri.
And I'm at the Alicia Couri.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.